and
Nicole
from HotMod with the HotSpark show. Oh, here we gotta do the HotSpark thing.
Boom.
There we go.
Beep pop boop.
What did you say? Beep pop boop?
Boop. Yeah, it's part of our music. Yeah.
So to anyone who's going to be jumping in now or watching later, you guys have been watching the HotSpark show for a while, and I am super pumped about Elise today because
he's pumped. He's fangirling out.
Is
there like a fanboy out? Like, is that a thing?
Yes. Yeah. I think it started as fanboy, and then I think we turned it into fangirl.
Okay.
I've been watching Elise's stuff for I think I just mentioned to her 2.5 years, and I love this because I don't feel like as a male, I'm allowed to talk about male things. I have to wait for women to talk about male things. Mm-hmm. And so it's a huge thing that I'm super excited about. What are you looking forward to most? Real quick, and then we're going to bring Elise up.
I'm with you, Grant. I am really curious. I'm a mom of 2 boys. They're teening out. I'm seeing them get into adulthood, and I'm like a little nervous for them sometimes because there's so many things that are taboo as a boy, like, suck it up and hold it all in. And sometimes I hear them say those types of things, and it's like, oh, I've got to steer the boat and help them. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what she says, and I'm totally going to ask her.
Well, let's bring her up without further ado. The illustrious Elise Micheals. I don't know if that's right. Is that your adjective? Guys. Illustrious? What's your favorite adjective?
I didn't even know that was a word, to be
honest.
But I'm loving it, We're here.
We're here. So everyone who's popping in later, please go check out Elise Micheals. I think this is the official page, the underscore. Is that a new account?
No, that is my account.
I was like, wait, underscore. What's up with that? And then
I actually do have just Elise Micheals with no underscore that I created a long time ago. But then you ever know when you first start a business or something and you create like a couple accounts?
Yes.
So my original Elise Micheals underscore used to be Elise Mofo.
It's like the old emails.
Yeah. This one took off, and I went to go change it to Elise Micheals, but I couldn't because I had taken the other name. Yeah, I had already taken the other name, and it wouldn't let me take it, even though I changed the other one. So
I like Mofo.
That was the
OG. So if I had to wingman you at a stage, I'd be like, "This is Elise Micheals. She gives voice to men's issues when men can't," and that's my summary. How do you introduce yourself, or how do you like to kind of summarize what you do today?
I usually just say I'm a men's mental health coach. And if you want to go deeper, I help men find purpose and passion again by healing any subconscious trauma that they might have.
Dang, like we haven't even gotten to the conscious traumas. We're just lingering in the subconscious trauma.
We skip over what you know. All right. If you could see it, you could solve it. But
That's a great. I'm literally writing this.
Write that down.
I'm writing. I'm taking notes. If you can see it, you can solve it. Tell the truth.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, we have a lot of things that we're interested in. I know Nicole. You heard Nicole's intro. She's got 2 boys. She's super pumped to hear about some of these issues. I am too, and I think I'm totally cool if we get sucked into one of these directions. But I do want to hear a little bit before we derail into like something that this message that I'm passionate about your message as a voice, as a creator, as an influencer. So I'm just going to kick us off with our first question. How did you land on this message of men's mental health? How did you start here? Did you start here?
No, I didn't. It's so funny whenever anybody asks me this, because I actually was trying to be a women's spiritual coach. And I posted my motivational video content on LinkedIn like March of 2020, like a month before the world shut down, and only men reached out to me for help. And it wasn't until 6 months later that I just fully became a men's coach, as I started to see that men really didn't have a lot of support when it came to mental health. And I said, you know what? Women have enough support. I'm gonna just go full on into it and study men's issues and be there for them.
I like that. Nicole?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's funny how the beginning of your journey, but when you listen to your audience, or you listen who's actually responding to you, then you start to find who you can actually help, right? I mean, what I think about when men start to reach out and they reach that point, they must be at a certain point mentally to feel courageous enough or strong enough to say something or speak up to you. So like, what is that first conversation like? Are they timid? Are they, is there kind of a theme that you notice in the beginning that they're all kind of feeling? And I don't know, can you give us some insight into what that's like?
Yeah, there's always a mix. I think there has to be a perfect recipe for I was creating the content that allowed them to feel like they could be vulnerable, but their hesitation with depending on their past experiences and just where they're at with their own consciousness of their problems and issues. So with the content that I had, a lot of people felt like they already knew me and I already understood them, so they were more open to it. And then when I started off on LinkedIn, I would actually just reach out to people who connected with me and ask them if there was anything I could support them with. So I reached out first. Is there anything I can support you with? And when you're at the edge of feeling like you need support really bad and you don't feel like you can talk to anybody else, and there's this person who has demonstrated their understanding and then asks you, I think that they were just a lot more willing. Other than that, I call myself the Hail Mary coach. Usually they've done everything possible before they come to me. And it's pretty easy for them to talk to me at that point because feel like they have nothing left to lose. So,
and this was happening on LinkedIn. Like when I think of LinkedIn and messaging, it's like, you pretty much just expect everything to be a bot. At least I do. It's like no one really messages me on LinkedIn personally. It's like this auto message. So, and then it doesn't feel like it's very personal, but maybe that's why it worked. Like it's a professional setting. So there's like this, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I hand messaged every single person who connected with me, liked my content, commented on my stuff.
That's a hustle.
Like in the beginning it was like 4,000 people, you know, like I was hustling. Yeah. Because I wanted to see what I could do to help people.
Wow. Now, did you pick LinkedIn? You said you started on LinkedIn with women's spiritual content. Why LinkedIn? Why not Instagram? Like, I mean, we use LinkedIn right now because a lot of our target, like our ultimate target is we work with tours and boards. We just got off an interview with the VP of marketing to Colombia. Like we're talking to a lot of travel influence marketers and stuff. They're on LinkedIn or their companies are. So that's kind of tactical for us. Did you come in with that tactic?
I was on LinkedIn because I used to work for a tech company, and I have always loved video. Like video has always been my thing. So when I worked for the tech company, I was just posting videos about sales and stuff to like try to be more known so that people would buy from me, from the company, right?
Right.
And then the CEO really liked the videos. He saw the videos and was like, hey, these are great, keep them up. And I was like, holy crap, the CEO likes my videos. This is so cool. Like, let me keep making them. So then I developed like a little bit of encouragement from that. And so I already kind of had like, and back then I was getting like 20 likes, 35 likes. And I was like, holy crap, this is like blowing my mind.
I'm somebody.
I know. I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And then so when I quit that job, I was just like, you know what? If I'm going to build a business, I am going to build it around me. Like, I don't want to have to pretend. I don't want to have to wear these weird outfits. I don't want to have to dress up. You know, like I felt like I had to be so business professional. It just wasn't who I was because I traveled all over the world. And I'm this quirky person. So I just started, and when I say women's spiritual coach, I didn't make women's spiritual content. I just made content that I felt inspired to make. So I would be on a run, I would make it in my gym clothes, and I would just say a motivational message and post it. And I was just consistent with that. So with those messages, those were the messages that men felt inspired by to reach out to me. And I just saw the growth. So I just went with the growth. And that was in 2020. So one of my videos went viral. And that's when I was just like, you know, you go where the momentum is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I know there's just that reoccurring theme when we talk to creators. There's this moment where a video goes viral and it's like a milestone to the next set of their career. And whether that's they're developing another product or digital product, or they're doubling down on one part of their business. It just seems to be that moment. And then you kind of go, wow, I got to take this seriously, or something kind of shifts. And I don't know if that's necessarily for you, but when we do talk to creators, it's like, that is the point where things start to get a little nuts and the growth happens. But
if I may, it's often a post that garners a lot of hate. So like we interviewed a group that has a couple that have, I think 100,000 followers or something like this. And they said that their inflection point, they posted, they were in a traffic jam in Florida or something. And they got out of their Winnebago. They were RV lifers. And the girl was like, oh my gosh, can you believe this traffic? And the trolls started coming out going, oh, first world problems, white girl problems. and they blew up. So they leaned into that. And like January's meat or carnivore month or something like this. And so they were doing carnivore stuff and really they seek that out. Do you remember the post that went viral and what its theme was?
Yeah, I remember that post exactly. I remember kind of all my posts that have gone viral. I mean, there's been on Instagram, there's been quite a few, but like the turning point moments that you're talking about, just specifically on LinkedIn, that one I was literally like running. I think I was running and I was just I was at the point where I was like, you know, for anybody who's struggling, like you can't give up. It was like really motivational. It was like, this is your sign, like not to give up. You got to keep pushing,
Really?
blah, 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 something happy, you know, and I live in Florida. So like at that time I lived on Miami Beach. So the sun was like shining and it just, I didn't get a lot of hate for that one, but that one got me like from 2,000 followers, I think to like 4,000. And that's when I was like, holy crap. That's when I got the itch.
Yeah.
But the one that went viral that pushed me into men's content was I wrote on a whiteboard, like, men deserve mental health support or something like that. And I was wearing a lace top. And so I had the whiteboard in front of me. So the lace top, I guess for some people looked a little risque. So everybody, like not everybody, like a lot of people loved it. And then some people were like, oh, look at her. She's like in a bra. And I obviously wasn't, but it was like, that was the one that like went super viral.
Right.
That got a lot of hate. That pushed me. And I was like, wait a minute, there actually is something here because people don't like the fact that I'm supporting men.
Yeah.
That makes them, And then that pushed me full on into men's content because I was nervous. So I said, this is the direction I have to go.
Oh, wait, pause on that. So you're doing women's spiritual stuff. From what I gather, you are, I don't know if it's intuitive or you're in touch with yourself. Is this a major mechanism for you? When you're nervous about a direction, is that a sign for you?
Yeah, I mean, usually. Because I don't usually get, I don't usually get nervous about things. So if I feel like, oh, this is like making me a little bit scared, as in like, I know it's going to test my boundaries. It's going to take me out of my comfort zone. I'm like, this is the direction I have to go because it's ultimately going to lead me to the next level of success.
I like
Love
it.
Yeah.
Nicole, you
So
had a
that's
question.
nice. So you had one that was more motivation and one that was definitely like a trigger for people. So they wanted to talk to each other about it. And then they had something to tell you about it.
Oh yeah, they blew up. They blew up in the comments. So I reposted that a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, just different thumbnails? Did you do different thumbnails?
No, it was a picture. It was just a picture, and I just reposted it on all the social media platforms. Right. Once it blew up I think it blew up on Facebook like that, and then it blew up. It's just on LinkedIn, everywhere else, and people were just mad. So I just kept reposting it because then you lean into it because it works. The comments. Actually, I should bring it back. I should bring that back.
You should.
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago.
Collab us. We'll totally post it, man. Like we'll be like, let's go. So let me ask this real quick, and Nicole, I'm going to jump on not your question, but I'm going to jump down to this other one because it's relevant. How do you deal with trolls at this point? Did you have a rule then, a rule now? Do you even have a rule? Like, how are you handling trolls?
Yeah, I love this question because I don't even look at the comments, which is like not good because you want to interact with your audience. But in the beginning, so there's different stages. When you first start out, you take everything personally. And every comment, you're like, oh my, they're like, oh, I got comments like, this woman's the devil. Don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Jezebel.
I had other men's coaches stitch me and be like, she's trying to make all men into femboys. Like,
what?
This is crazy stuff, right? Like, and in the beginning, I was like trying to like fight them off, like, oh, and I felt so insecure about what I was posting, and then I just said to myself, Elise, if you want to have Jeff Bezos level success, you have to be willing to take Jeff Bezos level of hate. And if you can't do that, then you don't deserve that level of success. So I stopped looking at the comments and just kept working.
Yeah.
And as I work, the
Oh.
content explodes and the people keep hating, but it brings me great joy to know that there are people in the world who hate me, who I will never even know exist. I won't know exist.
That's
I can't
right.
possibly know how many people hate me because I'm going to keep growing and they're going to keep sulking.
Sulking. Jeez. Oh, wait, where did you get this drive? Why are you driven?
Honestly, I don't know. I was born. I was born driven. I didn't
Okay.
have like this. I didn't grow up with a family of entrepreneurs. I didn't grow up with people telling me like, do whatever. I always had big dreams since I was young, and I didn't have the support system. I just didn't want to live the life that I grew up living.
Preach. Nicole, is that true for you? Like your entrepreneurial journey? Like we haven't talked too awful much about how you got here. Go ahead.
I think it was a drive of what I didn't want to do anymore. Like I
Yeah.
didn't want to work for a group of men. I didn't want to listen to anybody else anymore. Like just those small things, and they compound over the years. And then you're like, I'm busting out of this place on my own, and it's all up to me. And there's that scary feeling you were talking about, but that also is what drives you. So
I love how
yeah.
you said specifically you didn't want to work for a group of men. You want to dive into this?
No, can I tell? Yeah. Can I? Well, let me tell an anecdote to
They
open
weren't
her up
bad
on this.
men. I just didn't want to do it anymore.
When we were talking about partnering, Nicole said, "You just have to know, though, you'll never write my paycheck." And I was like, "What?" It was just such a very clear boundary. It's like, okay,
Yeah, we'll be partners.
we'll be partners.
I didn't
But
work
Damn,
as
that's
hard.
so intense. I'm totally opposite. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can write my paycheck. I'm fully supported by men. I love men. That's all my whole life is supported by.
So Valentine's Day has been big for you on this. Coming up to the show and Valentine's Day, I saw a lot of your posts and you got a lot of gifts. And I love how you receive well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you receive so well. You don't make it high and mighty. You don't make it demanding, but and I just saw your post. I have it up. And you know what? Do you girls mind if I screen share the post? Do you mind if I screen share this post?
Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, hold on. I got to pull this up because this touched me as the token male on the show right now. Hang on.
the token male on the show.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, Grant.
Yeah. So this is the one. It's not hard to love a man or be loved by a man. Many women today are too in their masculine to appreciate the little things so big. Then I read the description, and this is where it's at. Like these two paragraphs like rocked me because I don't think people understand this. Literally after 4 years of working with men, it took me until last night to finally realize something. Men are providers and they get joy from providing. The biggest gift you can give a man is to welcome or receive him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, what could I get you a truck? Could I get you a car? Could I get you this? Could I get you? It's like, no, you could just literally receive me. And what I'm trying to, this rocked me, by the way. So the gift is the providing. What gift can I give you? And that is allow me to give you something. Allow me to serve you. Allow me to die for you. Like I would literally die for you. And I want to be spent like that. Mm-hmm. And so this really rocked me. Like I was in tears, Elise, literally. I was like, what? So I'll come off of that. But
I like that you talked about like the past 4 years. So what has like, I'm sure in the beginning, you understanding like or having your own sense of the help that men need. What have you learned the most over the past 4 years that you maybe didn't realize at the beginning of your coaching journey that like just even that revelation of like giving? I'm sorry. I didn't even notice.
What triggered you? I want to hear this. What triggered you? What's hitting you?
I'm just so grateful. Sorry, because I feel like I've been ugly crying for like the last week because
you're so beautiful. You're not ugly crying.
You like bring up that post, but man, like I just don't think people understand how much work and love I put into this. And this is like my life. And I haven't asked for anything besides like obviously the monetary exchange when it comes to coaching, right? But like all the content is free and I'm constantly trying to do better and make the solutions easier and more understandable. And like I just put that thing out there so by chance randomly because I was struggling in a moment. Like I just moved to this new place. I'm going through like a rough patch. I haven't had an apartment like since I was 22. I've never bought furniture. I have like no stuff and I don't really want a lot of stuff, but like I didn't have any pans And I was just like, if somebody wants to buy me pink pans, let me know. I'm like crying. Someone was like, oh, I'll buy you the pink pans. And I'm like, really? Like you would do that? And they said yes. And then I was like, all right, well, here's an Amazon link. And then I just posted the Amazon link. I like added a couple more things. And then they bought like the entire list of stuff.
Aww.
And I just felt so supported by this. And I don't know, just the gratitude that was in me for these people where like, and I made that post because it was like, wow, I've been hustling so fucking hard just to try to earn the love. Like I say in all of my posts, how men try to just earn the love, earn everything. And I didn't have to do anything for them to want to provide for me. And I just felt so taken care of. And when you go through life never really feeling taken care of, it's just such a special thing. So I'm just like transitioning, you know, we talked about like transition of career. I'm transitioning into my own different state of being in the way that I receive and accept things. So I don't hide like how emotional I get about it because I'm just so grateful for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and they flooded, and you know, I was imagining the trolls going, "Who is this girl?"
Yeah, it happened. That also happened.
I believe it. I didn't read the comments, and I chose not to because it's like she's just out here, and they could put you in this category of women looking just to get. I heard it not called not a booty call, but a foodie call. Have you heard this?
No.
It's when women will say yes to a man inviting them out to date because they're hungry and they want dinner. It's a foodie call instead of a booty call. And because men really do just want to give. But what I saw when I saw this whole week of gifting or these last few stories I saw of yours, what I saw was usually you see the opposite. You hear about men and polyamory and they get judged pretty hard and they have all these people that they're spread out. And you're the inverse of that. You're just female with all of these men who are supporting and who are supporting you and bringing love to you. It's literally just their gratitude. Yeah. I joked with Nicole once, I want to be a golden retriever that brings you quail. I just want to like.
Yes, I literally said it the other day. Golden retrievers need other golden retrievers. This is a thing.
Yes, we do. And we just want to bring that reward to the women in our life because they enrich it just not just by their presence, but yes, by their receiving. There's just this cycle, this perpetual motion machine going on. And so I was happy for you when I saw this. And I just imagining all the haters going, man, look at all these suitors and stuff. It's like, actually, I don't know how many people were actually coming on to you. Probably relatively few. It was probably just all gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
a lot of thank you notes. And yeah, I did get some hate and it made me feel bad. Then that's like the reason why I didn't ever ask for anything, you know, because I never wanted to have that image. And so I was stumbling upon some people who, like, I found a woman who'd actually been like hating me since like, I don't know, last April or something. Like I found it in my hidden messages. Like every single time I posted a selfie or something, she's like, oh yeah, get those men, like take advantage of those men. And I was like, damn, dude, this is so crazy. And I'm like, dude. And then I thought to myself, like, this is the way I'm transitioning, right? Like the only reason people ever give you a gift or a money or any type of energetic exchange is because they have perceived value. Yeah. So if you are someone who's hating on someone else because they're receiving gifts or getting paid, you're not seeing the perceived value in them or yourself.
Yeah.
So like, instead of like hating on someone for receiving, learn how to give so much value that people feel the need to give you something back. Like I will never apologize for this because that is a tangible representation of the work that I've done. And I want to get more stuff. So it's inspiring me to create better content. You know what I mean? Like, why not? This is an energetic exchange.
It's an energy. I love the fact you own that this is a value exchange and I am fine with it. So let me ask you that because when someone's open like you are, we always we want to give our followers, the other influencers, insight. You have, I think it's 200,000 followers here plus, right? 300?
280, yeah.
Boom, okay. And then that's just this platform, not including other platforms. We're realizing people with 30,000 followers are having a full-time income. People with 5,000 followers. It's all across the board. Without getting into details, Is the coaching program doing what you want it to do? Is it moving you towards the Bezos level of success, or are you finding a need to kind of find other business models or adjust your business model from here forward? Kind of where are you at with the business side?
Well, for me, I'm constantly changing the level that I'm going to. So like the coaching, like the business always supports me no matter where I navigate. Last year was every single year that I've done my business, I've like 3x'd my income. So last year was obviously my highest income earning year, but it goes in waves when you're a coach. And then when you want to, like, you come to a fork in the road, okay, like the coaching business is here, but do I want to continue coaching or do I want to progress into a different part of this niche? I've built out this following. So yes, it does. And then I'm also, for me, transitioning into the next level, which for me is like, I want to have my own show where, you know, and I just filmed one-on-one with a client. I was at his house in Fort Lauderdale for 3 days. We filmed the entire thing, his journey, his transformation.
Wow.
And that is going to be kind of where I'm stepping into next. So instead of me coaching one-on-one, I'm going to coach one-on-one, have it filmed, have it broadcast so that men can watch and understand and view the lessons learned there. And then they don't have to pay for one-on-one coaching because my one-on-one coaching is pretty high tier. But they can support maybe via Patreon or at whatever level if they like the way that video content is going. So I'm always trying to up level.
And Nicole, just jump in here if you need to. If you could tell yourself when you first started some of the tips you're looking at now, what's some of the advice from the business side, from the growth side, or even from the messaging side? Is it more complicated than you thought? Easier than you thought? Should you have always done high ticket? Like, what are some of the tips you would give yourself if you were starting over?
You know, honestly, I feel pretty lucky because I was successful from the beginning because I don't want to say I feel like I did everything right. But before I started my business, I had like 10 years where I was investing in coaches, in courses, in books.
Right.
So I did the groundwork, dude. I spent, you know, probably over $100 grand now on my own learning for business and studying. So right when I started, I had a coach and she told me build from the top down. So start high ticket, build low tier. Do not start low tier and go up. And like from the beginning, I was doing big jumps. I went from 1,900 for my coaching to 10,000. Like I didn't do an in between. I didn't build an ebook or a course. I still don't have an ebook, you know? And the low ticket stuff doesn't sell. Like I struggle so bad selling low ticket versus like my one-on-one coaching is, you know, now it's 25 grand, but it was.
That's what I was going to ask you is where have you found the most success? Is it your coaching program, your masterclass?
Always my one-on-one coaching.
Okay. Always your one-on-one. Is that in person or virtual or?
It's always been virtual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And define success here, either Nicole, because you asked the question, or Elise, because you're answering the question. Like, how are you defining success in this case? Nicole?
Well,
when she said she 3x'd her business, I'm there.
Talking about money.
That's right there.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to have success, you know, with the numbers. The numbers always say success. Your client results say success. And if I didn't have client results, I wouldn't have the numbers. And to put it in perspective, like the renewals, right? So having a client pay me that one time is great, but then having almost all of them pay me that a second time as proof of the, you know, coaching was like, for me, like, okay, that is very successful to me.
Yeah. It's the biggest compliment for sure. Yeah.
And do you feel that like so we hear all the influencers, and I like you, I have heavily invested into a lot of my own coaching on me. And I hear this debate quite often, start low, go high, start high. And then if you need to offer low, go low. Do you have the Elise Micheals way that you're like, I absolutely know I could create change? Or is this niche just hurting that bad that whatever it is you bring, do you have the Elise Micheals way that just like, this is my system, this is my method, and there's something to it that is rich? Or is the niche just hurting this bad, or is it somewhere in between? Like, have you crafted your own method, I guess, is kind of what I'm asking.
I wouldn't say there's necessarily a method as much as it is me. I don't want to say like it, but like, you know, I don't think that my content would have blown up the way it did if I wasn't able to translate certain messages the way I can.
Yeah.
And
This
it's
is
not,
gift.
yeah. And so there are courses that I've taken and stuff that I've learned just on a psychological basis and a scientific basis and about the brain. But being able to translate and interpret that message, I'm not just spitting it out. Like many people do that. They don't have large followings because anybody can read a textbook. It takes a lot to combine empathy and knowledge and translate it into something that people can feel and understand in the same at the same time. I've been trying to develop it into a method
Sure.
because then people can take it and spread it. Because my ultimate goal is to help the world heal, right? But I would like to think that there is something to the content that I create that is my own.
So in my early days, I was just a killer salesman, right? Like I could sell anything. And I got this job with Starbucks in the pandemic. And I was paid to read books and coach this small enclave of real estate investors at the time. And so they sent me to Tony Robbins, they sent me to Robert Kiyosaki, and like I was doing all the education, then I was regurgitating, and it was awesome. We all lost our jobs. Everyone lost anything. I had to go find a job. I went to work at Starbucks. And in this tiny little Starbucks, I was the manager, and we murdered it because I was applying all of these skills. And I mean, murdered it. And I was like braggadocious about the whole thing, and we were killing it. And my district manager came up to me and she said, "Hey, what do you got going on?" I said, "Well, I'm gifted." She goes, she said, "If you cannot imbue what you do in other people, you don't actually know what you're doing." And that burned my butt. And I got down to, I do believe I believe there's something mystical in, even in this, like Nicole's really revealed that the influencer world is not just a bunch of like, quote unquote Kardashians. There's even a gift there, right? There's actual skill to manage, and what you've done is like serious business. And everyone thinks, well, you know, the stars were aligned for them. It's like, no, there's something mystical, powerful in you that is timely for this. And I believe that, and I believe that we can leverage that. The next phase that I'm challenged in, and I think I hear you saying some of this, is how do I articulate what it is I do and capture, because I know I have a gift, and I know you do too. There's a gift there, but I need to get down to articulating it so I can put it into other people, like you said, to really spread out. Because you have an impact on people. I have an impact on people. I just want to make sure that it can go beyond me, I guess is kind of where I'm at. So what's the top issue men express?
What's the top issue men express?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of relationship stuff. Yeah.
Nothing specific?
Well, they don't feel respected or appreciated in their relationships. They don't feel heard or understood by women. They don't feel like accepted by women or appreciated by women in general. There's a lot of wounding, a lot of mother wound.
Really? Okay. Well, that kind of leads to what is your advice of parents of boys so that this mother wound doesn't happen? Is it preventable, or is there like there's always like some level of that in the son mother or son father? I don't know. I guess the parent relationship.
Well, there's always going to be some level of trauma that a parent passes on to their children, just because no person is perfect. So like if you're a parent, right, like you don't beat yourself up like, oh, I have to be a perfect parent for my child. Like it's just never going to happen. But the more you heal your own nervous system and your own attachment styles and understand your own belief system and what you're passing on, the better chance your kid has of living like an amazing life. Because it's not just about what we say. They're watching what we do. They're watching how we respond. They're watching how other people treat us. They're watching how you interact with your spouse, interact with strangers. They're watching how you interact with them. And they are absorbing all of this information subconsciously. And that is what they are destined to bring out into the world. So if you don't like your relationship, if you don't like yourself, and you think you're going to try to hide all of this from your kids, you're lying. They see everything. And if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're making excuses saying, oh, I can't go to the gym, or I'm just going to wear my messy bun every day, and this is what I'm going to do. Like, they are seeing that, and they are seeing that this is what's normal. And if you don't want them to be destined to live that life, you have to make a change for yourself. That's the beauty of self-care. So when it comes to men and women in particular, something that like moms have to watch out for is like, you know, and fathers for their sons, be aware of how you're differentiating treating your boys versus treating the girls. Girls often get nurtured a lot more. They get a lot more like concessions for mistakes. They get off when it comes to chores or stuff like that. Like men are kind of almost emotionally abandoned from a very young age. They're not nurtured. They're not really taken care of. They're not like listened to their side of the story. So we need to create emotional space for boys when they're young so that they know how to observe their own emotions and reflect back like healthy ways, or else they're going to learn how to push it all down, hide it away. And that's what they'll do in their relationships and for the rest of their lives. And what they're going to do to try to earn your love, the only way they know how, is to excel in sports or to excel in school, because that's the only way that they're perceived as successful. So then as adults, they become these crazy entrepreneurs or businessmen who make a lot of money and are miserable in their marriages and their lives fall apart. And then you're like, why are you getting divorced? Well, because they don't have a regulated nervous system.
Have you seen the opposite of this to be true as well with the over mothering or over coddling? I feel like that's
I mean, those men are perpetually single. Constantly feel indebted to their mothers. Like if it's a helicopter mother, what happens there is she's replaced him with a spouse. There's kind of like a no longer a parent-child dynamic, but like a spouse dynamic. And you know, those men feel like they have to put their mom first. They're always asking her opinion. They can't go a day without talking to her. You know, they don't do anything for themselves because their mom did everything for them. So then if they get in a relationship, it usually doesn't last very long because either the woman is like, dude, I'm not putting up with this. Or, you know, like they just don't, because the mom doesn't want them to have another woman in their lives.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. When I read about the Spartan Paideia, are you familiar with that at all? Kind of the basic version of the framework is that the boys were allowed to run around, do whatever with their mothers, with the families. But at around 10, it was a full hard stop. They were removed from the household with their mother permanently and put into the Paideia, where they were then trained for war. And it was no going back. Like, she was no longer their mother. Now, she would root for them, and as all the women in the village did, but it was that moment. And I think a lot of indigenous tribes had a similar practice where they would go live with an aunt and uncle permanently. And that way there could be more training. But they made sure that they got through to about 10 so that they did have the nurturing side. They were raised with, at least being in touch with some of their emotional spectrum and their role in that.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're over on time. We promised to keep it to 30 minutes, but I could talk to you, I think, all afternoon.
This is great.
I could talk all afternoon. You mentioned your show is next, but that's coming soon. You're manifesting that. You're working towards that. Is like, what else can people expect from the Elise Micheals world in the near future?
Well, next week, we are actually hosting the Year of the Man Summit 2024. It's a free
Year
summit.
of the Man Summit.
Yes, it's the
I didn't get an
year.
invite.
You got an invite now. I mean, the Year of the Man Summit 2024.
Okay.
It's a free summit that I host every year for men, where I have different content creators, psychologists, doctors come in and have a speaker session to give access to tools and resources that men wouldn't usually have access to, completely for free, unless you want to buy VIP so you can talk to the speakers. But this is like a 3-day online event, February 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Wow. So,
and those details are on your website?
Yes, like EliseMicheals.com/YOTM 2024.
YOTM 2024. YOTM. Here, let me just put this up
and you
on the
can
screen.
see the speakers. You can see access to the speakers from last year. And we have, people who are at like the same level and above as me. Like we have Sabrina Zohair. She's the owner of Do the Work podcast. She talks a lot about attachment styles. Last year we had Trevor, the psychologist. Like, there's just like so many people who are wanting to help better men's mental health, and they're doing this for these guys for free. So like,
It's
don't
nuts.
let me down by not showing up. Come to the
Don't. Oh my
I
God.
love how direct
you
Come
better
on.
come. I'm gonna use my
She knows how to
guilt
speak to
tripping
men.
ability.
I'm feeling like I'm not going to let this girl
You
down.
need to
No.
send it to your email list, everybody,
Okay, here, let me actually
Got it.
write that down.
We'll put it in
for
the newsletter.
free.
We'll put it in the HotMod newsletter going out.
That would be
Like the television.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that, and we got the Spark newsletter. We'll put it there as well. Elise, any parting thoughts for the public? You're live. We'll share all this stuff again. Any final thoughts or any final directives towards anyone listening out there? What's your mission? Anything at all?
I just say keep being positive. There's always an answer. If there's a will, there's a way. And men's mental health. Hashtag.
Hashtag. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We expect big things from you. And I, of course, I'm not going to let you down. So I'm going to be around next week.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. Boom. Takeaways, Nicole. Man,
she is powerful.
like I feel like we were just barely opening it up. Like I was like,
I know.
man,
Like,
I
we
just want to
could've
shut this down and be like, I've got you and captured audience. Let's talk now for another hour.
But wow, you really like sharing that post, like really made her emotional, and then that made me emotional. And it's I just love that she opened up like that, because creators are so like
Rehearsed.
rehearsed. That wasn't really.
I don't know. Where were you going with it?
I was going with like, this is our body of work. It's a
Yes.
very personal story. Yeah, there are the like more curated and there's places for that, but like she is really affecting and helping people, and she feels very close to her work. And I love to see that side of it. And I hope that that resonates with people, and see that this is a very real thing for people. We're not just throwing up posts and hoping that, you know, somebody likes it. Like,
and she's evidence that you can start in one pillar of content,
right?
Discover a niche. And I think a lot of the creators we've talked to, they're literally just turning a money crank somewhere. And they're going, I guess I'll keep shilling this thing or that thing. Elise really has found a niche, but she's also found passion in that. And I think people are doing content in lieu of passion. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of the influencers who are starting out seem like they're just trying to get brand deals. They're just trying to get collabs. But it is also about making a freaking real impact. So keep creating content until you land on something that moves you, you know,
or moves your audience, and then
moves you.
You realize what resonates and go with it. So I love the parallel of these stories. They really, they just make me happy. To hear.
So if you're watching this or watching the replay, please check out @Elise Micheals _ Please check out Year of the Man 2024. I know I'm going to try to be there for sure. Check out all things Elise Micheals. I'm a continued fan. I was going to say now I'm a fan. No, I've been a fan.
Yeah,
and
you've been a fan for 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
As we opened up with.
Yeah. And check us out next week. We should have the Florida Bushman. He's this hilarious dude, but he's got an awesome backstory. He's had a stroke as a child and could not find good work. And so he decided to make his content about making people laugh and having a good time with it. So check us out next week for the Florida Bushman. Thank you guys so much.